Hello everyone, hopefully I am live and you can actually hear me. This is my first time going live on YouTube, so it would be extremely helpful if someone could just tell me in the chat that, you can hear me, you can see me, all of that stuff. Let's also hope there's no lag because always makes me nervous. Someone tell me that you can hear me, please. Yes. Hello, Dana. Hi. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. I've previously run masterclasses without checking that people can hear me and literally recorded the whole thing with no sound. So now I'm just a little bit extra cautious. So forgive me. Okay, so I'm going to give everybody a couple of minutes to join us live. And so before we speedball into the point of today, I would love for those of you already here with me live just to say hi in the comments. Let me know who you are, where you're joining from, and what you really want to get out of today. So obviously the topic is how to sparkle online without adding more to your to-do list. So it's very much about amping up your visibility in a way that feels really chilled and easy and effortless. But I would love to know specifically what it is that you are hoping to walk away with today. Just have to dance to myself while I'm waiting for the comments to come through. So this is going to be really fun today. We're going to cover a bunch of stuff, and there's going to be some strategy here, and there's also going to be some of the more whimsical, magical elements, because I love weaving that into everything I do. And we're also going to be having a giveaway, so I will be drawing some prizes right at the end of the session for anyone who is still with me by the end. So should we get going? Yes? Okay. Gotta stay hydrated. So hello to everyone here with me live, and of course everyone watching the replay too. I am Dara. I know you'll never guess that by seeing my name spelled in writing, but it's pronounced Dara. And I am a brain and biz coach, and I help coaches, healers, and behind the scenes bitches to unlock their next income level and unleash the work they were meant to be doing in this world. And because of this, I talk a lot about visibility. It's a sticky point for a lot of people. And it is also something that can really trigger a lot of change and a lot of transformation and that sort of unleashing part of the puzzle. So that's why we've come to this topic today. So we're talking about sparkling online, amping up the visibility, getting seen by the people we want to see us, connecting with the people that we want to have in our community, attracting more opportunities, more possible collaborations, more media ops, more clients, more customers, more cheerleaders, all of that good stuff. So Dana's saying her goal is to increase online visibility without overworking it and adding way more to her to-do list. Yes. She wants some top tips for working effectively and efficiently. Yes, speaking my language, I love all of that. So what I would love for you to do before we go any further is just make sure you've hit subscribe. So this masterclass here sparks the relaunch of my YouTube channel. And what you can expect going forward is a whole bunch of highly practical training videos. There will be a lot shorter than this one today, so very easy to weave into your workflow, as well as a whole bunch of hypnosis and meditation audios, tapping scripts, card readings, and all kinds of lovely magical bits and pieces. Hey Natasha, hey Laura, lovely to see you both here live with me. Okay, so before we dive in to the training portion, let's talk a little bit about this giveaway. So like I said, in the emails you'll have received and also at the start of this video, I'm going to be pulling some names out of a hat at the end of this workshop and awarding a few fabulous prizes. So let's talk about those. So first up, we have a bundle of tapping scripts taken directly from my Cosmic Bitch program. And I've handpicked 3 of the most high impact tapping scripts that have helped people create the most impressive results. So one of our prizes is that bundle of tapping scripts. Our second prize is my self-study program, Batch Like a Bitch. Now, this is the perfect prize for anybody who doesn't want to be online a lot of the time. So they want to spend more time offline while still putting their marketing out there, while still getting the results, while still growing the audience, while still making the sales. So Batch Like a Bitch is built around the premise that we can batch like 90 days worth of content in just a few short days, so 2 or 3 days. Then you can schedule it, set it, forget it, and be on your merry way for the next 3 months before you come back and have another like batching sprint and do the same again and again, so that your marketing can take care of itself without you having to be on it 24/7. So prize number 2 is access to that program. Prize number 3 is an in the mail prize, which is always fun. So anyone who follows me on Instagram will know that I'm a big fan of journaling in all its guises. In fact, there are going to be a few journaling magic videos coming up soon on the channel. So like I said, make sure you hit subscribe. But the prize is, I've got my bits and pieces here, 2 of my favorite kinds of journals. So a big one and a little one. A deck of journal prompt cards. These were created by my friend Laura Powner. I use them all the time, and I actually bought like 5 decks when she bought them out so that I could give them to my friends and use them as prizes. And a pack of my favorite pens. Now these are just for illustrative purposes so that you can see the pens that they are, but you will be having a whole pack of these pens, which are very like flowy for writing, so they don't stick, they have good ink flow, very, very important and essential. Just looking at the comments, Laura's saying planning her batching today, love it. Dana's saying looking forward to the journaling videos, yes, love the journaling magic. Okay, so those are the prizes. We will be coming back to those right at the end of this. What I will be doing is simply picking names from the comments at random. So keep commenting as we work through this. The more you comment, the more chances you have to win a prize. So let's do this. So first things first, let's talk about what you're going to be putting out there, the strategy side of this stuff. So when we think about visibility or marketing or putting yourself out there, it can feel like a lot of things. It can feel like a lot of things to create, a lot of things to put out there, a lot of time spent online, a lot of strategies to implement, a lot of habits, a lot of hacks, like all of this stuff. And especially when you have access to so many amazing coaches and so many amazing trainers, it can just seem really overwhelming. And that's not what we want. And here is the secret that I imagine nobody is telling you. You do not need to do all of the things. In fact, you don't need to do any of the things. You get to choose exactly how you spend your time and spend your energy. Laura was saying sometimes it can be overwhelming. Yes, it really can. Even I find it overwhelming at times. Like I love learning new things and I love surrounding myself with experts. But sometimes when you have those voices telling you that you must do things a certain way, it can just feel really heavy and just not what we want. So what I would love to know from you guys with me live is, how do you currently feel about putting yourself out there? When you think about like going on social media or publishing a piece of content, what is the first thought that comes to mind? And I would also love to know like what you hate about being visible, what you hate about doing your marketing. Dana's saying feel overwhelmed. Overwhelm is a big theme coming up. Overwhelmed. Natasha's saying, fine in terms of on social media, but you tend to do feast and famine. Right, yes. And that's another common symptom. Like, we'll get really enthusiastic, or we'll have a ton of energy to focus on something for a while, and it's like this short sprint, but then we lose steam and it falls by the wayside. Dana's saying, I don't enjoy making videos of myself. Natasha's saying, not so good on mailing lists. Right, okay, so let's talk about what you can let go of. So I want you to think of all of the things that you've decided you have to do in order to be visible. You might just want to brain dump them somewhere, make a list, and we're going to talk about whether that actually needs to happen or not. Diana's saying that, yes, losing steam after initial burst resonates. Okay, and that's not what we want. What we want is to be able to do things that we enjoy consistently that get the results that we want. It's as simple as that. And this formula is going to look very different for everybody, but that's the beauty. We can tailor it to our own personal tastes, our own businesses, our own audiences, because from person to person, none of that stuff is going to stay the same. So let's make those lists. Write those lists of all of the things that you've decided you need to do. So that might be writing blog posts, writing newsletters, doing Instagram posts, doing Instagram stories, trying out reels, doing IGTV, playing around with Facebook Live or YouTube. So all of the things that at some point you have decided you need to do, that you're either trying to do now or is still like lingering there in the periphery, making you think that at some point you need to do it. Just get it all out of your brain and on paper. And then I want you to go through with a marker pen and just cross out everything that you hate. Anything that you hate, just cross it straight off the list. I'm not here to trick your mind into doing things that you genuinely do not want to do. Because, newsflash, if you're not enthusiastic or excited or even like surviving it, if you just really genuinely loathe it, your people are going to feel that, and they are not going to want to read it or watch it or consume it in whatever format it is. So let's just cross those things straight off the list. Okay? Share your thoughts in the, how do you feel about just completely ditching things? Tell me in the chat. Right, so we've talked about things that we're going to let go of. Karen saying, love ditching the things I don't love. Yes, because here's the thing. We decided to run businesses, I'm assuming for most of us, because we didn't want to have to follow somebody else's rules. We didn't want to live and work within certain restrictive boxes. So why are we bringing those restrictive boxes into the way we do business? Natasha saying, yeah, no interest in Snapchat, for example. Dana saying, oh God, I crossed out making videos, but it feels like the one thing everyone says I should do. Fuck what everyone says. Excuse my French. To those of you who haven't met me before, I tend to swear upon occasion. Yeah, if you don't want to do video, don't do video. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. And what I also want you to remember is any decisions you make now are not decisions that you are locked into for life. So if at any point you decide, I actually want to experiment with video, then you're allowed to do that. Laura's saying, hate Snapchat and TikTok. Yeah, so don't try them. Don't bother. I know for me personally, video used to be my nemesis. You would even taking a selfie, that was just not going to be happening for me. Anything on camera made me so uncomfortable, and it just was not for me. So what I wanted was to no longer be afraid of being on video. So I challenged myself to do a month's worth of Facebook Lives. And honestly, like if I scroll back on my Facebook page and look at them, they are absolutely awful, like the worst videos you can imagine. I'm so glad that practically nobody has actually seen them. But the getting into the habit of showing up daily to do them just eliminated that fear from my worldview. So then after that, I still didn't actually want to do video, but I wasn't afraid anymore. And so when it came to the time, like now where I'm deciding, yeah, I want to start doing YouTube, I don't have that fear. I have that like a certain level of comfort about showing up on camera. So I think it's important to think about the things that you are just afraid of versus the things that you genuinely don't want to do. Diana's saying, yes, good way to think about it, making videos on your own time. Yeah. And everything can be on your terms. So let's have a look at what your content strategy could look like. And I know strategy can feel like one of those like sticky, restrictive words, but it doesn't have to be. So when I say strategy, I just mean picking the things that you are going to commit to. And we're going to keep this so incredibly simple. So the way that I think about any kind of visibility activity is that they can be divided into 3 camps. So number 1, we have the create camp. So this is any like original content that you could create that is like high value, high impact. It has a real point to it. It has value in it. People will get something from consuming it. So this would be something like blog posts, podcast episodes, videos of a decent length, anything like that. What I would love for you to do is just pick one thing that you could try for, let's say, this next 3 months and try to do fairly consistently. So for those of you with me live, pop in the chat which thing that you would like to commit to. And what I always suggest when coming up with your like one creative outlet is, number 1, what do you actually enjoy creating? So Dana, for you, like you don't love the video, so don't pick a video thing, pick something that you actually enjoy instead. And what I also suggest, like if somebody say doesn't really know what they enjoy creating, I would say look at what you enjoy consuming. So if you love reading, maybe opt for writing. If you love listening to audios, maybe podcasting is for you. Natasha is saying more IGTV videos and lives. Yes. Laura's saying YouTube and podcast. Love it. Dana saying I'd love to write a blog. Amazing. Natasha's saying intrigued by YouTube, would love a step-by-step tutorial from you. Well, thank you. I am just learning it myself. I actually have an amazing friend and coach, Kiana Lachey, who is an expert in YouTube, but I can introduce you to her stuff, where she has a load of amazing resources. So I would definitely recommend her. So that is our first camp, our create camp. Second, we have our convert camp, and this is always going to be the same. And some of you might not like this one, but your email list, emails. Now, the reason that I really want to encourage you to get a little bit more comfortable with emails is this. We do not own anything else on the internet. We do not own our social media platforms, our social media followings. So if one day a platform closes down or your profile accidentally gets deleted, you've lost all of those connections. Whereas if you focus on getting people onto your email list, you still have that little black book, if you will. And that doesn't mean that you have to do anything special or fancy with your email list. You can absolutely just repurpose your create content into an email. That is what I recommend to everybody, and it's what I do myself. And then our third camp is our connect camp. So this is the place where we show up and actually engage with people, have conversations, cultivate relationships, and share snippets of our magic. So this is going to be a social media platform. And notice that I said a social media platform, because you don't need to be on all of them. You can pick the one that you like hanging out on. And yeah, there are a bunch of like tiny little tricks and automations that you can set up that like trickle something that you do on one platform onto another. Like, feel free to use those if you want, but they're not essential. And you can absolutely just like create success using one social media platform if you like put your time and energy into it. And that's the goal really here, is simplifying what we're doing so that what we're doing we do better. Laura's saying one of her friends lost her YouTube and she had to redo 2 years of content. I would also say like backups. If you have a podcast or a YouTube channel, then just make sure you're saving all of that content somewhere else, like in Google Drive, in Dropbox, something like that, so that if anything ever does go wrong, you still have access to all of your bits and pieces. Okay, so to recap, in order to conquer our content, we are going to have one creative outlet. So our blog, our YouTube, our IGTV, our podcast, whatever that is. We are going to have our email list functioning, and we are going to have one platform to connect with people. So hit me up in the chat and let me know how you're going to be connecting with people. My favorite is obviously Instagram. Instagram is, for me, just the most fun. I love that I can sort of curate the kind of content that I see with more ease than Facebook. Natasha's saying Instagram too, yeah. And what I also love is there's a lot of different types of content that I can consume on there as well as create on there, which is fun. It's more fun than always thinking about the same thing. Dana, Instagram too, yeah. Yeah, all Instagram fans in this hood, I think. Okay, so we've looked at stripping it right back and deciding what we're going to do, what we're going to create. Now let's look at how we're going to do it. Now, as with anything really in my business or in my life, I love to create rituals when it comes to this stuff. And it might be that some of your rituals are bigger and more involved, and it might be that some take about 30 seconds. That is absolutely fine. So I'm going to talk you through a little bit how I do this. So first up, I will think, when was the last time that I felt completely like creative and in flow and on it, and like just the words were just pouring out of me and it felt amazing and magical and just like divinely guided? And then I will ask myself, what were the circumstances surrounding that experience? So what time of day was it? How was I actually working? Where was I in the world? What was I listening to? What smells were around me? What was I wearing? What was I drinking? What was I eating? All of these little elements. And then I will think about how I can replicate that. So for example, when I sit down and write my emails, like the words pour out of me when I have a regular cup of tea, when I'm listening to Fleetwood Mac, and when I have lavender essential oil in my diffuser. Those are three little things that I know will always trigger easy words. And like your rituals might look different for different phases in your life or cycle or business, and they might look different for different kinds of activities. So like I said, that works really well for me for writing emails. But then when it comes to going live, I get pretty nervous. So what I will do is I'll listen to a really high vibe song and dance around just to shake off that nervous energy. And then I will also either listen to something really relaxing and calming, or I'll watch an episode of something that really distracts my mind from what's about to happen. And that's a ritual for me that always helps before I'm going to go live and do something like this. And then when it comes to spending time engaging with people on social media, what I will do is make sure that my desk is clean, that I've got a really like high vibe playlist on, and usually something citrusy in my diffuser. So again, like it's a really small thing, but it triggers a certain kind of activity for me. So what I would really encourage you to do is, now that you have looked at what like your simplified content strategy, so you know the one thing you're going to create, you know you're going to be tackling that email list, and you know you're going to have one platform to engage on, I would create a little mini ritual or trigger for each one. So when we're looking at that like core creative content, maybe you want to do things that make you feel creative and in flow and like an expert and a master. So you would maybe just do a little bit of journaling around what makes you feel those things, and then replicate it in the form of a ritual. And then if you think about your email list, like how do you want to feel when you write your newsletter? Maybe you want to feel like an expert, like a CEO, like someone who is hyper efficient and getting things done really quickly. If that's the case, explore what makes you feel that way and replicate it in the form of a ritual. And then if you think about how you want to feel when you show up online engaging with people, maybe you want to feel magnetic and compassionate and creative and like high level expert. If that's the case, then journal about what makes you feel that way and replicate it in the form of a ritual. And you will see that I am repeating myself a lot because it works exactly the same way. So in its simplest form, we just want to think about what we want to feel while we're doing something, what makes us feel that, and how we can replicate that. I was heading to the chat. Carmel saying, you're the queen of rituals. Wow, they work for me. Marie saying, finds it works better when you've been chilling out, if you've been for a walk. Yeah, so something that's like a pattern interrupt can work really, really well with a lot of this stuff. So like moving your body, changing your environment, anything like that, it can be really, really effective. Marie saying she loves the dancing to shake it off. Yes. Natasha saying power music. She's been listening to my Spotify list and loved that idea. Yeah, and for some of my rituals, like the only thing that's different is that I'm listening to a different playlist. It doesn't have to be this long involved thing. It just has to trigger you. It just has to trigger your brain. So it can be very much tailored. So what are we thinking? So I love everyone who is telling me about their rituals so far. If anyone else is having some ideas about what their creative rituals could look like, definitely pop them in the chat. And I want to see the content commitments too. So for anyone who hasn't answered that question yet, tell me, what is the core piece of original content that you would like to commit to creating? And which one platform would you like to show up on and start engaging with your people on? Because that's all we're going to commit to. Keeping it simple. And you might have noticed that you can hear me shuffling because I have some cards out. So what we're going to do now is just really fun. So I'm going to pull a bunch of cards and use them to inspire content ideas. And these content ideas are things that you yourselves can take away and use as inspiration again and again and again. Dana's saying, walking to a nice cafe and having a nice coffee with good Wi-Fi to write creatively. And for writing the email newsletter, be at the desk with music. Love it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, like I said, this is one of my favorite ways to generate fun, dynamic, original content ideas. So I will just pull cards and then talk about whatever comes up. And all of these ideas are going to be things that you can tailor to any business, any niche. So yeah, let's do this. Karen saying, I'd like to write more, so maybe a post on my birthday log. I don't post much on my IG. Yeah, so if that's something that you want to do more of, then this is really going to help, because they're going to be prompts that you can definitely take away with you and rinse and repeat. So let's start. I'm not looking, I'm not cheating. Okay. So this is Flora, and the words on this card say find peace within. So how could you interpret that as a piece of content? So number one, you could talk about how you have found peace in your life. You could share a personal story about what peace means to you and how it impacts the way you work. You could bring the theme of peace into the way you talk about your business. So if you provide a service that makes other people feel more peaceful, then this would be a great topic for you. If you have any like self-care practices that make you feel peaceful, that might be a great like actionable piece of content that you could share. Let's put another one. Next we have citrine. So citrine is a really great crystal for calling in abundance and wealth. So maybe going with this prompt, you want to share about an offer that you have available for sale. So share a sales post talking about your offer, any offer. Another option would be to share testimonials or client wins specifically on an offer, about an offer that you want to sell. Another option would be to talk about your own like journey with like wealth creation and money mindset. If you have taken any courses, read any books that have really helped you, maybe recommending those to people would be a really useful piece of content. Let's pull another one. Ooh, so phantom quartz, and so the words on this say embrace change. That is a great topic. So if you think about change, how could you interpret that as a post? So you could talk about how you're making certain changes in your business, and it could be an opportunity to unveil some of those. You could talk about how the work that you do creates change for your clients and share some examples of those changes. You could talk about how the way you work changes in lines with times of the year and seasons, maybe certain holidays. Really, really like simple theme to incorporate into any business is change, because everything that you do as a business owner creates some form of change somewhere. So great topic. Okay, let's go with a different deck. So this card says release. So how could you interpret this? So you could talk about releasing a new offer into the world. So if you have created something new, or there's a new way that you could package it, such as in the form of a bundle, this will be a great content prompt to use. You could also talk about what clients need to release in order to work for you. So if certain beliefs will block a client from investing in your services, maybe that's something that you could talk about. You could also talk about some of the things that you've released on your own like personal development journey, because people love to come behind the scenes, and I'll say it as it is, people are nosy. People are really nosy, so they love to come behind the scenes on your personal journey. It makes them feel like they know you. It helps them learn to like you and love you, and therefore down the road invest in you. So there's another topic. So next we have unconditional love. So you could share what you love most about your work, like what really lights you up about your work. You could talk about some of the amazing results that these clients you love have received. You could share love notes from those clients. So if they've sent you testimonials or thank you emails or anything like that, share those. You could talk about the things in your personal life that you love. So if you're grateful for certain things, if there are certain things that make it possible for you to do the work that you adore, maybe that would make a great post for you. Control. So one of my favorite topics. So maybe this could be a post about the power of letting go of control. I know that can be a really challenging topic, but it can also be the kind that speaks to a lot of people, because a lot of people are very afraid of letting go of control. So you might also talk about tools or apps or systems that could help people gain a better control over certain things. So if you provide services, this might be a really great content prompt for you. You could also talk about your own experience of maybe being a recovering control freak and what that's been like for you and the work that you've had to do to get through that. Let's switch decks again. Okay, so the Queen of Materials. Now she is sassy and abundant and loving life and just living her best vision. So this would be a really great time to share the vision that you have for your business with your people. And what that does is allows them to buy into the journey and want to jump on for the ride. So if you're honest about what you're working towards, then that can be really inspiring for people. This card is also very much about abundance. So maybe a post celebrating wins. And it doesn't have to be wins in terms of money. It could be wins in terms of transformation, wins in terms of lessons that you've learned. Any kind of win would be great. And then because she is like so sassy, maybe this is like the flag in the ground kind of post where you say exactly the kind of client you want to call in and the kind of client you don't. So if there are certain qualities that you do not want to work with, maybe you just write a post talking about that. Be brave, do it. Okay, so next we have the Knight of Inspiration. Now this is a very creative card. It's very like, the vibe is very like action taking and sparking movement. So maybe you could share a post of sharing like how someone can get motivated or how you personally get motivated. You could share something really inspiring, such as a series of prompts for something, or a certain technique that helps you get inspired when you get stuck. Or maybe you share like a really like actionable tip that will get somebody a result really quickly. And then last but not least, we'll call this is our 10th card, so the Hermit. So you could interpret this as taking downtime. So how could you bring this theme into your content? You could share your intentions to have a bit of a digital detox or to unplug for a while, to take a break. You could talk about the benefit of your services in relation to how it will support people in taking a break and having more downtime. You could talk about the power of alone time and all of the clarity it can bring, all of the new ideas it can bring, and all of that good stuff. So there are loads of ways that you could interpret that. And you might not have noticed, but what I have just done is picked 10 cards and given you 3 content ideas per card. That is a month's worth of content prompts that you can take away with you and use right now. So what I would love for you to do is just like pick one of those things that I suggested and post about it today. So I would love for you to share in the comments and tell me which post prompt you are gonna run off with and create something around today. And when I say post, it can be like a written post, it can be an Instagram story, it can be a video, it can be a TikTok if you're one of those. It can literally be any kind of content. So tell me, share in the chat, let me know. And I hope you can see how easy it can be to spark and generate new ideas. All it takes is a simple prompt, like an image or a word on a card, and a little bit of creative thinking of how you can relate it back to your business. Okay, so just checking the chat. Karma saying, love it, you make this sound so easy for a person who does not like creating content. Yeah, it gets to be easy. It gets to be easy. None of this stuff needs to be difficult. Marie saying, I second Carmel. Diana saying, yes, what a great idea to unbox and get creative. Sasha saying, sassy and loving life. Sounds like you. Yeah, absolutely. I love this. It's such a fun way to keep the content machine feeling fresh and new and inspiring. And Dana's going to go and write a post about finding peace within following teaching yoga tonight. Perfect. Love that. Okay, so what I'm going to do with you guys now is some tapping. So tapping is one of my favorite ways for shifting energy. And the reason that I want to do this with you today is that a lot of stuff can come up when we start talking about visibility and marketing and putting yourself out there, whether that is fear of being seen or fear of judgment, whether it's feeling like an imposter and like you're not good enough. Whatever it is, tapping can help. So I haven't planned this out. I am just going to create this for you live based on what we've been talking about in the chat, so that it'll be really, really relevant to you guys with me live. Now, a word, like if anybody has not tried tapping before, I'm just going to give you a little bit of an intro before we get stuck in. So the first rule is always down a glass of water before we start. Want to do that? So I'm going to give you a minute or so, just grab a glass of water and down that before we start. And then what will happen is I will go through tapping on different points of my body, and you just mirror me tapping on the same point. And as I say certain words, you will just repeat them back. Now, the different tapping points are on the side of your hands, on like the karate chop point, on the inside of your eyebrow, just there, the side of your eye, underneath your eye, your cupid's bow, your chin, collarbone, the line where your bra strap would be under your arm, and the crown of your head. So we would just tap through each of these points, saying certain statements as we go. Okay, are we ready? Perfect. So let's start by tapping on the side of our hands. Even though my visibility isn't where I want it to be, I'm not posting as much as I could be. I'm not connecting as much as I could be. I'm not showing myself as the expert I am. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I accept all the choices I've made, the good and the bad. And I forgive anyone who has played a part in me being where I am today. I'm moving on to the eyebrow. I'm not posting as much as I could be. I'm not connecting with my people. I know they're there, but I'm just not cultivating relationships with them. I know I could do more. But also, I really don't want to. I don't like putting myself out there. I don't like being seen when I'm not at my best. I don't like the idea of other people judging me. What if I put content out there and people see that I'm a fraud? What if people see that I'm actually not that good at this? Or even worse, what if I make myself look worse than I actually am? Because when I really think about it, I am good at what I do. I've been training for this for what feels like years. I'm good at what I do. And I am an expert. It's just sometimes it doesn't feel like it. Sometimes I feel like an imposter. Sometimes I feel like there are just so many other people doing what I do. And that makes me wonder why people would pick me. And that makes me think that putting myself out there is a big fat waste of time. But I can see how showing up more online could benefit me. I've seen other people do amazing things. I've seen other people make their own rules. And create epic success as they do. I've seen other people be more visible in ways that look easy. So I get that it could be possible for me. I get that it's possible for me to show up online. I get that it's possible for me to be more consistent. I get that it's possible for me to feel more flow and less restriction. And I get that it's possible for me to get the results that I keep saying I want. So I'm claiming it. I'm claiming it right now. I'm going to put one foot in front of the other. And start sparkling online. I'm going to commit to creating one thing. I'm going to commit to staying in communication with my email list. Even if that's just once a month. And I am going to commit to staying connected. Connected to those people I would love to work with. So I'm doing it. I'm sparkling. I'm creating. I'm converting. I'm connecting. And I'm celebrating all of these epic results. Because I am making sales consistently. and it feels easy. I'm attracting opportunities consistently, and it feels easy. I am forging new relationships consistently, and it feels easy. This is visibility done my way, and I love it. Okay, so just take a deep breath in and let it all out. Now you'll want to go ahead and down another glass of water. So this keeps the energy moving. So you're flushing out everything that we've tapped through. And I would highly recommend working through this tapping script again if this visibility stuff is something that still feels sticky for you. So tapping has a compounded effect, so you can do it again and again and again, and it will only make things better and make things easier. You might also want to just journal out any thoughts that pop into your mind as you do it, because that can be a great indicator of something that you need to work on or ditch. So I would love to hear any takeaways from this tapping script. Hit me up in the chat, let me know, how was that for you? Okay, so while you get typing, I am going to be thinking about this giveaway. Just put these cards back first. Dana said, great script, had a big smile on my face by the end of it, thank you. Yes, tapping really is such a game changer. So if any of you guys want more tapping in your life and like more support in this way, then definitely come and check out Cosmic Goddess, which is my bi-monthly women's circle. So twice a month, every other Thursday, we get together and we'll do a bit of a hypnosis thing together. We'll do some journaling, some art together, and I will also do a tapping script for everyone that's there with me live before pulling some cards. So yeah, if you want that kind of support, then definitely come and check that out. I'll pop the link in the description. So, right, let's do our giveaway. So what I'm going to do is simply randomly pick a name from the comments list for each of the prizes. So first things first, I am going to pick a name for the 3 tapping scripts. So 3 tapping scripts from Cosmic Bitch. These have been the scripts that have created the most shifts for the most amount of people. So name I landed on is Natasha. So Natasha, 3 tapping scripts for you. So I'll get in touch after this and I'll get those over to you. Okay, so next prize is access to my self-study Batch Like a Bitch program. So again, closing my eyes, scrolling. The name I landed on was Dana. So Dana, access to my self-study Batch Like a Bitch program. Again, I will message you after this and get that over to you. Okay, and last but not least, we have the fabulous journaling kit. We have Marie O'Sullivan. You are our journal kit winner. So I will message you after this again and we will get that stuff over to you. So congratulations to all of the winners and big thank you to everyone who has joined live. Before we shoot off, I would love to know, what is your biggest takeaway from today? What is one thing that you're going to walk away with and implement right now? Yay, so in fact, I am just going to write down my winners so that I don't forget. Gotta love the post-its. They do come in handy. So so Natasha's saying her next step is going to try out tapping more. Many coaches endorse it and she's intrigued. Yes, it's amazing. And it can really help you shift any kind of struggle. Dana's biggest takeaway: I don't have to make things so difficult for myself in terms of content creation. The cards idea was simple, doable, and inspiring. Amazing. I love that. Marie is saying, I'm going to tune back into making content process more playful. I've been pushing instead of flowing. Carmel's next step is going to be listen back to the content prompts. Yes, love that. Amazing. Thank you guys for showing up, for sticking with me, for being chatty in these old comments. I love it when I'm not on my own. Karen's next steps, go back to the card pulls as well. Amazing. I love it. And anyone watching the recording, feel free to answer any of these questions and ask questions. If you have any questions on any of the stuff that we've covered, feel free to ask those in the comments. I'll be back in and out to answer those for you. And yeah, let's go and have a really sparkly rest of the day, guys. We've got all the tools, so let's do it. Thank you for joining me. I will be back here tomorrow with the first official video for the new YouTube channel, which is going to be a reading for the month of October. So it's a card reading for the collective for the month of October that will really help you when you are planning and deciding what you're going to focus on this month in your business. So meet me back here tomorrow morning for a brand new video. Okay. Much love to everyone who has joined me live and watching the replay. I will talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.